Hey folks, Brian O'Brien here, and we are live from the Claiborne County Commissioners meeting, and it's supposed to have started a few minutes ago, but
Here. All 21 commissioners present. Next item up is approval of agenda.
Make a motion to approve it, Mr. Chairman.
We got a motion and a second. Any amendments?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to add 2 announcements on that agenda at some point.
2 announcements.
2 announcements, yes, sir.
Okay, we'll put that. Can you make them at the same time?
Yes.
Make that 1A under new business.
And
anything else? All those in favor of the agenda as amended, say yes. Next item up is approval. Next item up is approval of minutes. Second. We got a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Next item up is county reports, county mayor reports, and sheriff report, committee report. Motion. Second. All right. Any questions on these? Any questions?
Mr. Chairman, I have one question. Mr. Chairman, the general fund, unrestricted county salary, we've got 5.5 million in unrestricted. How much of that is there? Okay. I was going to say, how much of that, do we expect more of that to come in from Is this kind of where
where we're going to start at.
that's approximately where we're going to start at? Update you to that, and that's what that number is. That's just unrestricted cash, unaudited one, in the general fund. Okay.
Any other questions or discussion? If not, all those in favor of the reports, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Next item up is notary public appointments.
So moved, Mr. Chairman. Second.
We got a motion and a second. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Approved. Next item up is old business. It's resolution 2025-067. This is regarding the certain powers granted to municipalities. And this is sponsored by Mr. Crawford and Mr. Schuler. Nobody,
I thought there were two, I'm sorry. Go right ahead.
nobody give me another agenda. I didn't get it. Nobody had a motion or second to amend the agenda. Ain't no bombs.
Good. You may proceed.
Okay. All right, is there any discussion regarding this resolution before we vote?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I feel like I need a couple of things that I want to say to it since Stacy and I were tasked to bring this resolution to this body. I feel like given the Facebook posts that were made, I feel like we need to bring out some actual validity to what we're actually going to talk about tonight. First of all, I want to say it tickles me to death to see this many people here. I wish that there was this many people every month here, and I'm sure there's a lot of people out there on Facebook watching, tuning in today, given this topic that we're about to discuss. But that being said, like I said, that Facebook post was riddled with misinformation and some half-truths, and I want to try to clear this up and so everybody can have the actual information of what Stacy and I are bringing this forward to. First of all, let me say that this was not brought up to limit where you can and cannot shoot your guns. These are things that I've heard over the past few days. As long as you're in the county, let's establish that. The city, they do have ordinances that you can't do certain things, but you live in the county, we're not here to keep you from shooting your guns. We're not here to discuss zonings. First of all, I'll tell you that if the topic of conversation here was zoning, I would never vote for it. Okay, that's not what's on the table here. People are trying to allude to the fact that that's what we're trying to do. Hopefully, when I get finished rambling here, you'll see that that's not the case. What we're trying to do by asking for the County Powers Act is to address small issues that could be considered a nuisance. Zoning kind of wipes with a wide paintbrush, and it incorporates all kinds of rules and regulations, like I said, in one fell swoop. And we're definitely not here to tell you how high you can let your grass grow. Okay, these, like I said, these are all things that I've heard of over the past week. So let me start with this. If you live in any of the cities, if you have an agricultural program going, or if you have an existing business, none of this is going to pertain to you. Okay, this is to address concerns of things that's coming into the future, and I've got one that I'm going to tell you about here in a few minutes. It's really going to rock your world. Okay. The number one statement that I've heard through all this is, well, I don't want to lose our little town. I don't want to lose our community. And you're absolutely right. I don't either. I mean, I'm the 7th generation here, 5th on the same dirt. The last thing I want to see is a lot of change. But unfortunately, as we have seen and witnessed that there's change happening and we can't do anything about it. And I'll use the example, I know this body's going to have to hear me repeat some things, but there's more people here now and probably tuning in than we've had to pay attention, so I'm going to repeat myself a little bit. The data mining center down in South Claiborne, that filled this courtroom for, I think, 2 months. People were all twisted tight over that. It was going to cause noise pollution. It was going to pollute the creek, which was going to wind up in our rivers and in our lakes. It was an unsightly mess. There was going to be a hum that was, like I said, create noise pollution for people in Rock Harbor and other people down there. And we sat here while constituents asked us, can you not stop it? Can you not keep this from happening? Well, one of the great things about our county is we don't have zoning. So guess what? No, we can't. However, had we requested and had this, what we're talking about tonight is the County Powers Act, we could have put some guidelines in place, and if this were to get approved tonight, next month, or whenever we decide to vote on this, we can put some guidelines in place so that if somebody decides to bring another data mine in here, that it would go into an industrial park. It would be surrounded by privacy fence. If one of the other concerns when it came in was the extreme amount of electricity that it was going to use. And in some other counties, there had been rolling brownouts and blackouts due to the excessive energy use that they use. We could put in safeguards that if TVA says we're using too much power, they need to shut down before your house or your business is shut down, or the power has to be turned off. So there's safeguards that we can put into place through the County Powers Act to ensure that these things that are coming in here that are outside of our control impact you the least amount as possible. Sorry. Lost my train of thought here. So the reason that this whole conversation started to begin with was this body had concerns about the ever-increasing amount of RV parks and tiny home sites that were going up throughout the county with zero regulations in place. Now, I like an RV park just as well as the next person. Me and my family have gone to them for years. But as it states right now, there's no kind of guidelines. They can be all over the spectrum. You could get some very nice ones. You could get some that's going to be eyesores and would ultimately decrease your neighbors or your land value if they're not ran correctly, or there's too many on a tank, or there's a plethora of reasons. So they challenged us to do that. We came up with them. While we were doing that, we had several neighboring counties that came to us and asked us if they could use ours as we were creating them, because they were tasked to do the same thing. It took us almost a year to do it. We brought them to this body, and right when we were getting ready to present them, we found out that there's no teeth to it because we can't enforce anything because we don't have something simple as the County Powers Act. Now, that's one example right there. Now, there's a couple other examples I'd like to discuss. One of them is, there was a situation up Cedar Fork where there was a gentleman that lived in a camper, and he was dropping his raw sewage straight into a creek. Okay, yuck. All right. Well, TDEC was contacted. TDEC came out. They saw the situation. They wrote him a notice. But again, with no guidelines in place on the county standpoint, we couldn't do anything about it. So after the third letter that they wrote these people and they failed to cease, guess what happened? They just said they're not going to come out and keep doing it because we can't do anything about it. By voting in the County Powers Act, this body can address situations individually and say, okay, if you're dumping your raw sewage into the creek, we're going to impose $1 a day, $100 a day, $1,000 a day fine to get it stopped. I don't think there's anybody here that would argue that that's a good idea. I'll use another example. Those of you who are familiar with Sharps Chapel and the medical egg factory or whatever they were doing down there. Sharps Chapel, Union County were up in arms over that. Okay? It came in, it got built, it got operated. Now, It's my understanding that it's no longer in business, which is good. But if you remember, everybody was concerned that there was going to have waste running into our lakes. And that, I mean, Union County was all up in arms about it. But since they didn't have County Powers Act or zoning, they couldn't limit anything as far as that industry was concerned. So the reason, again, that Stacy and I decided to sponsor this discussion was because when we sit on the Planning Commission, we see things that are attempting to come to this county before anybody knows about it. Okay? I hope everybody clears their head right now and listens to what I'm getting ready to tell you. Okay? There is a medical waste incinerary company that is aggressively looking for land in East Tennessee, and don't think for a second that Claiborne County is not on that list. Okay? Now, we don't have zoning, and like I said earlier, I would never in a million years vote for countywide zoning. But this company is looking for a place to come in, and the number one thing that they're looking at is, does the county have zoning? Do they have any other restrictions? If this comes in, you're going to see truckloads of medical waste being brought in and burnt. Now, I don't think there's anybody here or out there on Facebook that wants that on the other side of their fence. Again, something as simple as the County Powers Act would enable this body, not a few individuals, but the entire 21 of us, to come up with some restrictions so that that would have to be put in a designated area with scrubbers that made sure that the pollution stayed at an operable amount, whatever is required. We can limit some of those things. Folks, what I'm trying to tell you is this, okay? Like I said, my family has lived on the same dirt for a long time, okay? But we are going to lose our little county if we don't put some sort of safeguards in place. Now, one other thing that I want to say is this, and I'll finish this up. I've heard that it's a power struggle. It's a power grab. That people are trying to get in too much control. Anybody that has witnessed this group knows we can, all 21 people, vote and agree on what color Jimmy's jacket is right now. Okay? So anything that's brought in front of this committee, this commission, is going to be hashed and hopefully come up with the best alternative for this county moving forward. It's like the first resolution that's in our packet, which you all have seen copies of, regarding the tiny homes and the RV parks. Okay? That is just a rough draft. That is not etched in stone. That would be the first piece of guidelines that would be addressed by this body, which again, this body asked the Planning Commission to do it. But everybody here would have the opportunity to go through it and say, I don't like this language, let's change this language, let's put this in, let's take this out, and then this whole body would have to vote by a supermajority of 14 people, not 11, to pass said restriction. Again, I promise you, if you know me at all, I am never going to try to do something to tell somebody what they can do with their own property. Okay? But what I am trying to do is to keep these things that none of us want to see coming in here without any oversight from this body. Now, what happens after this is entirely whatever this body decides to vote on, I will support to the end. But please understand, this is not a power grab. We are trying to protect this county. Thank you.
Okay. Any other discussion or any questions from the audience?
Oh, yeah. I guess my first question is who will have the power to go, if you vote this in,
Who's gonna have the power to do the nuisance? Tell me what all nuisance means, define nuisance.
Okay, so you have county commissioners that represent your district, correct? Okay. Yeah, Travis, I've known you for a long time. You know if you got a problem in this county, you can call me. Yeah, you and I talk regularly, okay? If you see something that you consider to be a nuisance, you can call me, okay? I have no problem bringing it to this whole committee, okay? And then this entire committee will discuss that and decide, hey, is Travis correct or is Travis out in left field?
So everything that somebody don't like, you're just gonna all vote on.
If I may,
That's not the way
if
I
I may.
understood it.
No.
Travis, I want to give you the definition that's actually in the County Powers Act that defines a nuisance to be detrimental to the health, moral security, general welfare of the people that lawfully established, conducted, and maintained.
So how is those campgrounds that y'all are talking about that passed all the legality of having the sewer systems put in, or how they wouldn't give them power, of having power put in right, how is that? Because that's what he throwed up. How is that a nuisance? It might not look good, but you know, I've got an old tractor sitting in the weeds that don't look good, but you'd be hard pressed to try to get me to move it.
I've got a 72 Beetle sitting in my yard that's been there for over 20 years.
I mean, that's what I'm saying.
I'm right there with you. So what we're seeing on these developments that are coming up with no guidelines is they're putting them in, and then there's either no asphalt or it's dirt road. People are setting up long-term housing in these places, and then they're coming at the county, why are you all not doing anything? I'm renting this lot, my lot goes to the land taxes to the landowner, I should be getting some services in this area. If there's no guidelines on how they're set up, then they're not going to be built initially to the county road standards. If they're not built to the county road standards, the road superintendent is not going to take it into the county road list and maintain it. That includes drainage from runoff of the roadways, that includes drainage from the sites where the campers are located. That's all outlined within the parameters of the tiny homes that the planning commission worked on.
So you're saying that they can get power and water and sewer and everything else and not have a plan that
Absolutely.
passes?
Absolutely.
So instead of, because the way I took it, y'all could vote this in and pass it and then have rules. So why can't you add the rules before you pass it?
Because each rule is defined by the nuisance that you're addressing. So let's say that we're talking about tiny homes, campgrounds, and RV parks, that the conversation started 2 years ago. That resolution that's in here, first one under new business, is just solely for that. You can't do a blanket rule for everything in the county. That's zoning. So let's say another thing that we've heard about are junkyards in the county. If people identify those as nuisances, the existing junkyards are grandfathered in, and then an ordinance would be written to limit how and the way they function on a new one. So you can't attack an existing thing, but you can prevent it from happening again under the nuisance ordinance.
So if somebody wanted to buy a piece of property and set up a thriving business, our county would say, no, you can't do that.
No, that's not what I said at all.
Oh, you just what you said about a junkyard.
That's not what I said at all. What I said,
that makes pretty dang good living out of his.
what I said was existing junkyards would be exempt.
Well, I know, I'm saying
What I'm saying,
new junkyard.
new ones may have criteria that they have an additional 10-foot setback from your property line. That way you don't have gasoline, varmints and stuff coming onto your property. It may require them to do that, Travis. It doesn't say you can't do it.
Yeah.
It's just preventing
Well,
the nuisance.
I understand that.
from
And
occurring.
I think most everybody would be a little bit more secure about it if you had your rules set in place before you practice something as broad as what you're trying to pass.
So
Then
this
you
is,
could just make new rules.
yeah, this is.
There's a 10-foot setback anyhow. That's a rule already that you have to be 10 feet back.
And what, I understand that a lot of people's gonna be aggravated over, because, you know, at my store, I get everybody that comes in new, out of state, to our store, that's moved in here, and I'm thankful for them. And I understand that people's gonna be aggravated when their property taxes decrease, but you've got most of the people sitting up there, myself included, my property tax means, or my property value means absolutely zero, because my kids and their kids are gonna have it. I mean, my property value is probably close to $1 million, but it means zero. to most Claiborne County people that their property's passed down from generation to generation to generation. We don't care about property value. What I care about, if I don't want to see a trailer park on my way to town, I need to buy that piece of property down there before somebody else buys it. That's just how
And I'm glad
Because
Travis, that you
I
have
don't-
the financial means to just go out and buy a piece of
Well,
property to prevent
what
someone
I'm
from
saying
having it
is-
next to you.
what I'm
The
saying is-
majority do not.
What I understand that. What I'm saying is, what makes somebody, a group of people, able to tell somebody else that's worked all their life that their property don't need a standard? That your property just, you know, last day before yesterday, I went up and tore a man's house down on Sycamore that had cancer, and he had burned, and it was I guarantee you would have called it a nuisance because it was disaster. He didn't have 5 cents to rub together, didn't charge him a dime, but that would have been something that you could have went to this man over and said, hey, you're going to have to get rid of this house, and he needs to be worried more about living than he does about his house that's burning on the side of the road. So, and then, who's to say that what you call a nuisance, somebody else might not call a nuisance? You know, just because you don't like something don't mean everybody don't like it. You know, I don't like chiggers in the field. Somebody may drive by and pick chiggers and say, that's a pretty bouquet. You know, what I'm saying is, I don't understand how a human being can tell somebody else that's worked and paid taxes what they ought to do on their property. If you don't like the way they operate on their property, either help them mow it or tell them, say, won't you sell it to them? Or if you don't like it bad enough, just sell it and go move somewhere else.
It's that easy.
Yeah. Well, it's that easy. What I'm saying is I don't feel like that I would have the right to tell you, Joe, what to do. And then if you set up a committee, like who gets the power of that? Does the planning commission have all the...
Any ordinance moving forward, if this passed tonight by 2/3 vote, if they brought up Bitcoin to where you can do data mining, but it's got to be in an industrial area that already has highlights, high noise, this body has to do that one at a time, Travis, by 2/3 vote.
You know, you can throw up that Bitcoin a lot, but everybody, pretty much, except for the people that live right there around it, is all just mad because they didn't want to buy your property and set it on. I'd love to be collecting that money every month. They have every stitch of dime I got, you know. I know you want to throw that up because a few people that it touched, and I understand that, and I hate that for them, but at the same time, Wayne Miller was just smart enough to, Jack had that property himself for a long time, so if you didn't like it, you should have bought it. Poor Wayne did. And Wayne's sitting there pretty good, getting a big collection every month, so.
Travis, I'm only continuing to bring that up because it created such a ruckus in the county about the nuisance that it created around those individuals.
It did for just
somebody living in
but you don't hear nobody talk about it.
Actually, people are still talking about it every time that the electricity goes off in Harrogate.
Yep.
I get told that it's the bit mining, and I have people still complaining about it.
Well,
and I don't know if it's bit mining or not.
Well,
but
my
that's
boy's
what they're
lying.
complaining about.
He's out on call all the time, and anything because of that down there.
Well, I
That has its
suggest
own
that they
thing.
buy property just like you did. As a realtor, if anybody wants to buy property, I'd love to help you.
Yeah.
But
All I'm saying
I
is,
do have a question though.
okay,
Every time we meet, I get a little bit more confused about this whole thing because before you said that the planning commission, the vice chair of the planning commission would look at the nuisance.
That's correct.
Well, but Whit just said that us as a county commissioner would go look at the nuisance and bring it forward.
Whit would have misspoke. As we talked at our workshop last Monday, you said who would be over this.
And would it cost us?
That's correct. So you have a member of the planning commission, Roger Giggett, that has already volunteered to do that. He would go out, he would inspect it to see, is it inside or outside the parameters that they set. If it's outside, he would pass that information on to County Attorney Easton, who would issue a letter to the individual that they're outside the parameters. From there, they would have a corrective action plan that you all determine. Is it 30 days, 60 days, 90 days? If they're outside that compliance, then it would escalate to the next level, as County Attorney Easton told you on Monday, that could be a criminal or civil matter that would go through the courts for that to happen. You all don't do anything except approve this action to happen, and then you approve by 14 votes the next ordinance that you all would want to adopt around the nuisance. That's it.
And you said a nuisance had to be a health hazard. So it
That
just
can be,
needs
that
somebody
can,
up
that
for it.
can be one of the nuisances, is a health, as I just read.
Right, so rats or something.
That's correct.
But if it's just somebody pouring on their property or the grass growing up, we couldn't go in and do anything.
I'm not proposing that. As the gentleman said on Monday night at our workshop, what are we going to do about an 80-year-old lady that's sitting on a farm, her husband died, there's no heirs to take care of it, and it starts growing up? We mentioned high density and low density areas. You had a county commissioner, Dennis, not trying to call you out, spoke about a subdivision that he's got areas in his subdivision that are overgrown. Those are high density areas with multiple homes around. That could be a consideration. That's what's already done in the city limits. But you can't say, I want to stop it, and then find people where it's already there. It only takes place on things that happen after you pass an ordinance. You
Can I
can't
ask a
target
question?
a piece of property to get it cleaned up or have it go through the courts. All that stuff is grandfathered in under this.
Can I ask one more, Carolyn?
Yeah, go ahead.
The raw sewage is what my people complained about. Why doesn't the EPA do that? Wouldn't that be who handles?
As I said, EPA federal, on the state level, that's TDEC. TDEC came up and they wrote 3 letters of violation. TDEC is not going to come in and impose any punitive damages on a municipality. That's not the state's job. That's the local municipality's job. If we don't have anything set in place that would cause them to pay a fine or a corrective action to stop it, they're not going to come in and do that. That's your job. If you don't have zoning in place, then you adopt the County Powers Act to address those issues.
I mean, there is a TCA that says it's illegal to allow sewage to run. There is a Tennessee code annotated that says it is illegal to allow sewage to run on top of your ground. Presently, that's a Class C misdemeanor. Am I not correct on that, Mr. Step? So that could be something that falls under the local law enforcement to enforce it.
Then what that would happen is your DA is going to have to start issuing those complaints for the local law enforcement to go out and write those tickets. When I dealt with TDEC on this issue that happened, pardon?
Hey, I just want to say one more thing, and I'm going to say that, and I appreciate all of you, I do. I wouldn't have your job. I appreciate everyone, I appreciate my crew, commissioners, appreciate Stacy. I don't know all the ins and outs of this, but I can tell you with my way of thinking, I absolutely think that Claiborne County ought to look good. It ought to. When you drive down Long Mountain, it should look good. I agree with that. But we have to, if you would set some boundaries before you passed it, that said this is what, in black and white, not you. And the thing that worries me with the county, with the planning commission is y'all appointed them. We didn't vote the planning commission in, so then the people that's got the authority ain't somebody people voted for. That's who Young said. So that worries the heck out of me too. It ain't that that I don't think Young's would appoint good people. It's just sometimes they might have been having a bad day and say that don't look good, it's got to go. And I just wish that you would just set some straight black and white lines before you pass it.
For the
I would
record,
leave it at that.
Travis, for the record, just for clarification's sake, the planning commission would have zero authority to impose a nuisance or a restriction, okay? The only thing that the planning commission would do was if a nuisance was brought up, is we've had the vice chairman, Mr. Fugit, Rodney, has volunteered that he would go out and assess each situation to see if it warranted to come to this body. Then this body, not the planning commission, this body, all 21 of us, would choose, A, is it worth us addressing? And then if so, anything that would be brought up as far as restrictions or a way to handle that situation is going to be public knowledge. And I would hope that there's this many people here if we're going to discuss any kind of restriction. But just for clarification's sake, you got 21 people that's going to be in authority over that, not the planning commission.
Yeah, I got a few questions to address Mr. Lester's concern about guidelines before you pass this. I guess I'm wondering, why can't that be done since we're going to vote tonight on the recreational?
We're not going to vote on it. If we don't
It's a
vote,
resolution, right?
if we do not vote this in, if this were to get tabled, that.
Well,
that
if it
our-
was to pass, we'd be voting on it.
No, sorry, and clarification again. We have the opportunity to vote for it. It's going to be presented for everybody has had this for almost a year now to review, well, since the first of the year, to review these guidelines on this certain topic and would be able to start the discussion to say, let's take this out, let's add this, let's do this, until we come up with what we wanted to say. This is just an outline that you chose to, you asked the planning commission to come up with, we did, and now it's up to this body to go through it, edit it, and approve it or not to approve it. So no, that's not set in stone by any stretch of the imagination.
So we're not voting yes or no on this resolution?
We would open it up for discussion, and then if somebody wants to say they don't like line A or B, sorry, Jimmy, go ahead.
No, I don't want to. You go ahead.
But if somebody doesn't like some of the verbiage within it, then we have the opportunity to discuss it and edit it.
We do need to do something. I agree with that totally.
100%.
But there's still that concern when you pass something like this, it's whether Mr. Brooks is mayor in 4 years or not, whether some of us is up here or not, it opens up that can to let anybody do what they see fit to do.
Well, we already have that in the sense that, like I said, if this medical waste treatment incinerary company decides to pick Claiborne County to drop one in Speedwell and they start burning medical waste over there, we've got zero say-so.
And, you know, we've got a week to think about this, and it just, for instance, let's take your property, for instance. If I drive by there and you say you wanted to put a portable sawmill on your property, well, if I drive by there and say, that's a nuisance, I don't like to see all them trucks pulling mud out on the highway, and I don't like seeing all that, you know. So,
if you'll
I'm just saying that you open up, you open up, and I mentioned last week in the workshop, you know, there's places in my subdivision that does need cleaned up. But then when you look at this, we talked to a Granger County commissioner. They got the Powers Act. He, since then, regrets voting it in because he said it's only good as when it comes to the county attorney and it goes to another lawyer to represent that person, it's only as good as that lawyer is representing it to try to beat whatever nuisance it is. So, I don't know if this opens up lawsuits or...
The cities all have ordinances that they impose on the cities.
Which does not.
What?
Which the cities does have ordinances.
Sure they do.
Do they? Do they cover them?
Well, the point is that they have them. And then, if you will, let me restate one statement that I said at the very beginning of this. If you have an active business right now, this will not affect you. If you live in any of the cities, this will not affect you. If you have an active agriculture program, this is not going to affect you. So, Travis, I can't tell you to move your tractor. I don't care how many tractors you got out there on the back 40, covered up with weeds. Can't tell you to move.
But what about my kid? What about?
Is it going to stay in the green belt? Then we can't tell you to move.
I just wish you had just some boundaries.
Well, this is one of those things, unfortunately.
It feels like this is a lot like that charter deal, and the whole charter deal got voted down on.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, and Jimmy can speak to this, but the way that I understand it is this, we can't start imposing guidelines or restrictions until we have the power to do it.
Oh, I understand.
Yeah.
I understand.
And if you, okay.
Mr. Chairman.
And I've got one more question before I lose the floor. We're talking about Rodney Fugit being a volunteer to go out and identify nuisance and bring it back. I guess I'm concerned what happens when he's getting 20, 30 phone calls a day. I mean, I'll just be honest with it. If I get 20, 30 phone calls a day, I'm probably not going to volunteer for long.
I think that's where it comes back to us. There's 3 of us in District 1. If anybody thinks there's a nuisance in District 1, we can communicate with each other and say, hey, I got something going on today. You better go check this one out, Dennis. And that's what we're here for. It's not just to come to this one meeting.
Yeah, but that ain't what
Well, I
was
think you're
discussed.
part of what Travis is saying.
Wait a minute. We just not open, we need to be noticed to one at a time. Mr. Eastep, did you raise your hand while ago?
I did, just to answer Mr. Cook's first question and what Travis brought up. You can't have the regulations unless you have the powers. That's why the powers are on here first.
Yeah.
So there's no need to have regulations if you don't have the power to begin with. That's all I wanted to add, and I think Mr. Cook got it.
Okay.
Hey, my name's Teresa, and I've talked to most of you all, and some of the stuff that's been mentioned has been just kind of brought up with words that I have said, so I know y'all been talking, which is good. So my question is that Mr. Witt, the medical waste, do you have their phone number? Because I do have property in Speedwell. I wouldn't care to let them look at it.
I'd like to list it.
Would you? But I'm not trying to be a smart aleck. What I am saying, this gentleman back here, when he was talking about that we've had property, I've got tax receipts that our property has been in our family for 200 plus years. I do want my kids to have that property, and I don't want no stipulations on that. I do understand about the sewage issue. But again, we live in a mobile home. Y'all know what that is, it's a trailer. So we moved that mobile home down to our property, okay? We had to go through regulations and guidelines in order for that trailer to be set up with, guess what? Sewage, okay? So we had to meet their guidelines and such. And I feel like that this, and I think that I talked to you this weekend, thank you for educating me. You provided a lot of information. And also, your all's phone numbers are not up to date on the website, so I couldn't get a hold of 4 of you. But the ones I talked to, thank you all for listening to me. I'm not used to get up and speaking, I'm used to singing, but I ain't going to sing correctly and do anything like that. But my concern is, I don't want future down the road, we don't live forever, okay? There's going to be other generations that come in that can add to the guidelines or whatever, we're talking about and such. And if we don't follow the guidelines, because I asked you this in a message, and thank you for responding, you said that they could be fines. Well, and this just sounds like regurgitated charter information, a gateway to the charter. Not that it is entirely charter, but it's a gateway to it, okay? I'm not for that. And I will have my last dying breath to not be for this. Okay? I appreciate y'all's time. Thank you for responding. I don't agree with you, but thank you. And thank you for everybody that talked to me. I left a message on one, but please update the phone numbers.
If you can let me know whose phone numbers are not
I
correct,
got a list.
give it to me and I'll update that. And I will say that we're here for discussion because we don't always agree on things. And we're here to have a discussion of what will work, what won't work. If some of it won't work, we have conversations about what will work. What will work that we don't want to work, we have conversations about that. And that's the point of being here in a public meeting right now. Not to say that we're for restrictions, but we're having conversations about nuisances in the county. That's it.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to address a couple things. First, I'd like to address a couple things Whit said. First, he mentioned about the junkyards. As I stated in the workshop, maybe in the last month, I've dealt with 2 of these in the past 8 months. And long story short, what I did is I contacted the state. They told me who to contact, blah, 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 blah. Both of them took care of it. I didn't go in front of the planning commission. I didn't bring it in front of us. I called the state and they took care of it. The second thing is, and I mentioned this in the workshop, I won't mention it again. My subdivision, I don't live in the
city inherited it, but I pulled wrong and hit the city. But in my subdivision, there was a instance of one of the houses sewer running on top of the ground. I didn't go to the planning commission. Didn't bring it here. I called the state. They told me who to contact, what to do. Guess what? It got taken care of. You know, and I didn't have to, like I said, I didn't have to go in front of the planning commission or take it in front of nobody. And I'll guarantee you one thing. If my next door neighbor, Charlie Lawson, wants to turn his property into a junk yard or whatever, I'll almost bet it. I could make one phone call to the, now I'm talking about if it gets to the point. You know, I believe this. I truly believe this, especially in the county. Now, city's a little bit different, but in the county, if I've got property, I ought to be able to do with what I want on my own property. Now, I'll say this. Now, I kind of look different if you're in a residential area or as if you're in an area farming property. Now, to me, if we're gonna have this, to me, that's how they need to go about it. Go about the residential areas and leave the county areas alone. Because I just about bet you, well, let me get back to Charlie. But I can guarantee you, like I said, if his property was a nuisance or causing, let's say rats or some kind, I guarantee you I can make one call to the state and it would be took care of. I have everything else I've asked when it pertains to that. So I mean, I just don't believe that we're going about it. I'm like some others. I agree we need to do something. But again, I think we need to kind of divide this up into residential areas. And I know this particular resolution is dealt with RV parks and tiny homes and stuff like this. But again, I'll go back to this. I don't have to go out there. If it's in my district, there's RV park. I don't have to go up there and look if they've got sewer or whatever or not. That's the state. So what tiny home, if they want to put in some kind of, well, I guess they didn't have to do water, the state would have to come in. No matter what they do, the state would have to regulate some of this. So, I mean, I just think we're trying to, like I said, jump way too far. And I don't like jumping in when you don't know what it's going to lead to. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Anyone else?
Hi, I'm Stella Nelson from the Harriet Senior Center. My phone was turned off the hook all weekend, whether yours has had or not. And my office, we've not had activities pretty much. I've been dealing with people that are scared of you to come in and say, oh, we're going to find you for this, or we're going to do this with your property, or whatever. My priority is my seniors, and they are worried about what's going to happen if this passes, because there is no guidelines. You can promise me all day long that you're going to do something, but it's a word, and people's word don't mean nothing no more. I mean, that's just it. You've got to put it in black and white so these people understand what you're doing. We're that close to this being a charter government. That's what it is. Everything I've researched all weekend, that's what it was. Everything I pulled up, that's what it was. It's exactly what was voted on last year. These people are concerned about, say, well, Mrs. Smith, her property's all a big mess. You all aren't going to be here forever. I mean, next year is voting. Her husband passed away. Her property looks awful. You're going to come out and find her. Well, she's going to buy her groceries, or she's never been in trouble with the law, so she's going to pay this fine because she's scared. She don't want to go to jail or lose her stuff. She'll do without groceries to pay for whatever fine, and then probably get out there and try to clean it up herself and wind up hurt. You got to have some kind of something in place that shows exactly what these people are going to have the power to do. Not, I don't care about the guidelines, but there just needs to be something set up that says, okay, this is what they can do once this is put into place. Not, oh, well, we'll figure it out after we vote again. Because once you vote again, there ain't nothing nobody else can do. That's how my people are seeing it. And of course, I'm back here for it. And I've talked to 90% of these people today and yesterday because my people are worried. And I'll say, call your commissioner. They don't trust half the people. I mean, that's what it boils down to. So here I am on the phone dealing with it. But they need something that's not just a promise or a word. They need something in writing that says you're not going to come in and say, oh, it's a mess, we're going to fine you, or we're going to take your property, because it's all in newspapers. And I posted it on my Facebook this morning because I was tired of getting phone calls about it. You know, I can only tell them so much, and I don't know a lot except for what I've looked up and dug into and questioned, and they are scared. And as a county, we need to make sure they feel safe, that their properties are protected, that they're protected. So that's all I got to say about it.
Real quickly, just speak to that. So it's the third paragraph in Resolution 2025-067, and it states, whereas TCA 51118C requires that any county desiring to exercise these powers must adopt a resolution by 2/3 vote, 14 votes tonight on just the County Powers Act. And in order to do so, and must subsequently adopt any regulations also by 2/3 votes. So when we're talking about, I'd like to see some guidelines of what's going to happen with any kind of fines or any of that stuff or restrictions to do that. It's spelled out exactly what the County Powers Act in these 2 pages. County Attorney East can answer any questions in there. There could be nothing happen as far as guidelines or regulations or ordinance after today ever happen in Clay County. They're good. We can't speak to what's going to happen tomorrow, 10 years down the road, what that looks like. But it's still going to take 14 people that would sit up here and say that little Miss Smith needs to mow her yard, or I'm going to fine her $10,000 for taking property away, and I would guarantee you that you couldn't get 2 votes out of 21 up here that's going to pass that kind of regulation on anybody in Clay County.
But that could change tomorrow if the commissioners change. You know, you get people young, kids in here, they don't care about Granny.
I would agree.
They would just throw her under the bus and let her go.
To that point, we are about 90% red in Clay County. For that to happen, you're going to have to become about 60 to 75% blue in Clay County to elect 14 people up here that are going to have that mindset. I don't see that happening because people are moving here because we're on the right side of the spectrum with regards to how we want to live our lives and how we govern each other.
Well, like this, Joe, like my house burned 3 years ago. I couldn't afford to go out and pay $300,000 for a house. I lived in a tiny house. Guess what? I had to go through it. I had to go to your office, get a building permit, I had to do this, I had to do that. I had all these things that I had to jump through to even get my house set. And then my neighbor, who called it a nuisance, could have come in front of all these people, and I'd still be homeless, you know? That's what I'm getting at. There is things that are set up that we have to follow. The people that break the law, they're not going to follow it anyway. I mean, they're going to do what they want to. I do follow it. You know, I did what I was supposed to do.
I'm glad you did. I just want to speak to the 2-step process of having some kind of idea of what those regulations look like, because I can assure you, and I think County Attorney would say the same thing, if this body to pass this gave you about a 100-page document of what it would do for tiny homes, what it would do for RVs, for what it would do for data mining, for what it would do for anything, you would have legal challenges from here to Timbuktu. But I agree. I don't want anybody to tell me what to do with my property, but I certainly don't want a neighbor to come in that's going to waste harm onto my property. And that's what the nuisance would allow them to do, is to find out what it is that's causing a problem for anybody in the county. and then to correct it. It's not to say that that guy's doing it, I want him arrested and fined $10,000. It's to say, I don't want that to happen again in my county. So, there you go.
Mr. Mullins, did you have anything? Or is it done?
Well, what I was gonna say, Travis was talking about setting guidelines, and even if you could, the guidelines could change come next meeting. Just be proposed and could be changed. So I've had a lot of calls on this. Since I've sat in this seat, there's been some things that's not been, that I think what it should be, but I vote what the majority of my constituents want. That's what I'm elected to do. We had a controversial topic come up after this, and I sponsored it, the Second Amendment sanctuary city. We live in a land, the land of the free. My stance on this, you pay your property tax and it's paid up, you do with your land what you want to do with your land. It ain't up to this body to tell you how to use your land. And I told the guy the other day in my district, he was complaining, I said, show me your property line. He said, well, from there to there to there to there. I said, anything that you're telling me within your property line. No, it's not. Don't worry about it. That's your neighbor's problem, not yours. And everybody's just wanting a straightforward answer on where I stand on. That's where I'm at. You own your property, you pay for your property, it's yours to do with how you feel. That's my opinion.
All right, any other discussion?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to go back to what Mr. Cook said here. He was talking about, he spoke to a Granger County commissioner, and they all put this in effect a couple of years back, this County Powers Act. All right, I spoke to another commissioner. He said he voted for it, and he said that was 2 years ago. He said, I regret it. I regret voting for that. All right. He also goes on, we've got talking about the RV and the tiny homes, like the resolution, what we've been presented here. Their resolution, they adopted that same act, and it's pretty well worded the same as ours, but he said that he forwarded on and went to CTAS, and CTAS told him what they was trying to do was illegal. So, is this actually illegal what we're trying to do here? I mean, has anybody approved this through CTAS? I mean, who knows if this is even right through, we're governed, the county commissioners are governed through CTAS, if anybody don't know what CTAS is. But, that's my standpoint on it, and, I'm just like Mr. Mullins said, we're all taxpayers here. Us as taxpayers ought to have the right to do what we want to do with our land. I mean, that's my standpoint on it, and, I see a lot of places, I'm all over the county through my job, and I see a lot of places that's grown up, and there's some cleaning to be done, but it's also, simple I expect, it's somebody else's land, and I'm not the one telling them to clean it up. So that's my comment on it, but can anybody answer if CTAS would even approve this tiny homes and RV parks resolution that we've got? If it's even illegal, if it's even legal, what we're trying to do here.
Mr. Bunch, it's my understanding these regulations were drafted by CTAS, and these regulations have been to court, and they have been upheld. So, yes, it's legal.
Matter of fact, there's a lady comes from the state, ain't there?
Yes.
Well,
She's a regional planner that's a planner through the state of Tennessee, and she advises the planning commission on the legalities of what they can and cannot do within that space.
So, it's been looked at by the state planner, and they were provided by CTAS, which stands for University of Tennessee County Technical Assistance Service. So they're not going to take the chance that they're unconstitutional or illegal. So in my opinion, these regulations have been to court and they look legal. Now, I do have some changes, typographical changes, if you get to the regulations, but you got to adopt the county powers part first.
Before I make a motion, I'm going to make sure no one in the audience, I won't cut anybody short. So So I'm ready to take it to the vote, so I just want to give everybody a chance to talk.
Mike, I think everybody agrees that we want it to look good in Clarion County. And there's some smart people up there. Anthony, you'd be hard pressed to find a smarter human being than Anthony Rowe is in the world. That's just period, the way it is. Know him all my life. They don't come no sharper. You be Steve Mason and make money before he wakes up in the morning. You boys is good at what you do. You've got people that's good at what they do up there. And everybody wants Clarion County good, just not this way. Surely there's got to be some other way that we can do it without infringing on such a broad thing. But everybody agrees with that we don't want sewer in the creek. But you cover so much with that one thing, you know, and I'm satisfied you can find a better way, a plan B maybe that's a little more shrunk in. We'll start with that and then faking that. Thank you.
Go ahead. I'm assuming without the County Powers Act, that if there were a medical supply that's going to burn their refuse, if it was put down in Powell Valley, the wind blows west, usually. The neighbors would be subjected to the odor from that facility. And without the County Powers Act, they wouldn't have any recourse legally in order to stop that, if it was proposed to be put down there. Am I correct in that?
Yes, we said that. Civil suit that you can't.
No, that's not correct. What Mr. Bryant said is not correct. That the neighbors would have the right for private lawsuits. There's a public nuisance and a private nuisance in the law. That would be a private nuisance.
But again, if they did that, you know, it's not like somewhere's just something going to come in somewhere and start polluting air or start polluting our creeks. There's guidelines that they have to go by the state. We listen, we don't regulate that. The Planning Commission don't regulate that. The state regulates that.
County would have the regulations on where it was.
No, Don. There's state regulations.
Where the site is.
Huh?
If they had the County Powers Act, they would have the ability to regulate the site.
We could tell them to put that there, no.
We can only send
What
them
do you
guidelines
look
where that's not
Like,
legal.
you can get junk yards out, junk cars out of your yard or anything like that. Is that what you want?
You could go.
That don't help nothing, Don.
You could
Don't
go
help
in.
nothing. Period.
Okay, go ahead.
This thing up. Oh, my name's Chris Parker. Nice to meet all of you. I think I met some of you before. I'll be brief. I think one of the things that we're really missing, and to Mr. Brogan's point, is he keeps talking about the state. The state's going to come in and fix it. The state's going to do this. The state's going to do this. That this would give the county, I think, power to take care of ourselves. Why are we relying on the state? Isn't that the same problem we have with the federal government? Is they're going to come in and fix it. They're going to come in and fix it. But they don't, and the state doesn't come in and fix it. That's what you guys are supposed to be for. You're supposed to come in and fix Claiborne County's problems, or get decorative. Like, at this point, like, the state isn't going to fix everybody's problem for them. I understand that there are regulations. I understand that you can call them, but I also understand that I'd rather call my neighbor and tell them my problems and have them help me fix it rather than relying on someone in Nashville to come care about little old Claiborne County.
Do you live in Claiborne County?
I've lived here all my life, sir.
Where do you live?
Down in Midway.
Okay.
Grew up on Cedar Fork, married a farm girl down in Midway, went to law school in Knoxville.
Okay. So you're wanting us to vote to do this and put all this on us.
Well,
Every month.
what else are you here for?
What are we here for? You know, I see you don't come to none of our meetings.
I've been to several.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. You evidently ain't paying attention. Who would enforce? Listen, you couldn't get 21 of us. You couldn't get 14 of us hardly to agree on nothing.
Nothing.
So you're saying there is no problem with overreach then? There's not going to be overreach. We're not going to pick on the little old ladies because you and I are going to agree on it. It's only going to be big things when big businesses come here and buy up land and force themselves into the community.
A nuisance to me may not be a nuisance to Steve. May not be a nuisance to Gary.
Okay, then 14 of them want to agree. We'll not have it.
I call it, unless there's somebody in the office. I mean, in the audience, I call it. Let's vote on this.
Mr. Brown, we got a lady here who needs to speak.
Yeah, she asked me.
You raise your hand.
If I understand it, if we don't pass 067, nobody can ever complain about a nuisance of any sort. If you pass 067, then you guys can possibly write nuisance laws and try to keep all the bad stuff from coming into our county. But if we don't pass 067, we might as well just shut it.
Okay, we got, go ahead.
My name is Josh. I am also a second generation Clairton County. My question is, would you all deny a business permit for some of these businesses that you maintain or other people in the county maintain against them? Would you deny a business permit or a building permit that would solve those problems?
So I would say this in regard to one that we've thrown up all over. Data mining sites are a huge revenue for your local utility district, which would then keep your rates low, but it causes problems with brownouts and blackouts potentially. I would think instead of putting one of those sites in the middle of a pristine area of Cleveland County that's less than a half a mile from North Lake, has $500,000 to $1 million homes around it, that there would be a guideline that says we welcome that in Cleveland County, but it has to be in an industrial area that's already got lights that illumine the night sky and black out the stars and already are creating noises. It would not say that we're not going to have the business. We would just say that we would want to have it where that type of business should be expected to be. Now, with regards to the building permits, right now, I have no legal course to deny any building permit in Cleveland County, except for the fact that if you get a meter set, you are required to have a septic permit or a septic tank existing on the property if you're moving in anything that you can live in. That's the only exception that we slow down or stop building permits in Cleveland County.
One other thing, and it regards some of the language that regards morals. Who is so morally superior that their morals are above someone else's? And it is stated in the act that
I'm quite certain that on a daily basis, whether I know it or not, my morals are called into question. That's just the nature of being in an elected position.
Yes.
As are every one of these individuals up here, and we're under that spotlight to do so. When we're talking about morality, you can't legislate morality. It's been tried for millennia. It will never happen. I can't speak to the language that the state puts in that requires each county to adopt this very act. I can't strike a word, I can't add a word. That comes straight from the state, that resolution does. Now, with regards to morality, again, we're going to fall back to say, if 14 people consider themselves above the fray, and they can cast the stone and live in the glass house and not expect one to come back, they're a better person than I am. That's not what we're talking about with regard to that. That's just a word that's in there. Again, you can't legislate morality. There are people in Cleveland County Jail that break morality all the time.
how can you adopt something that you can't enforce? That you can't even call into question because morality is something that can't be questioned? How can you vote that in?
So I would say to that question, if this were just a morality clause, I would guarantee you we wouldn't be having this discussion with anybody. Again, I didn't put the word in there, but everything else that you're talking about, a nuisance, causing harm, causing environmental stuff, that we can. Now, when it comes to say, well, I don't believe that so-and-so, and I'll just throw a weird one out, that we have a strip club in Claiborne County. I don't consider that a morale thing to have. It would take 14 people that thinks they should be allowed in Claiborne County to say that's an immoral thing, and I'm okay with that. I mean, when you want to talk about morality, let's talk about an instance of morality. My church folks would lynch me if I start talking about this is a good thing, we need to do that because it's immoral to do. So that's just an issue of what, or an example of what you're saying to me about immoral things to do. So let's talk about beer stores. I think some people would say that beer stores or package stores are immoral. They're allowed to come in through your county beer board right now as long as they don't sit with so many feet of a school or so many feet of the church. That's already in the books. That's how you are already legislating morality on a local level by saying we don't want those to be in our communities where our churches are and our schools are. It's already done. Now, is that the only example of morality that I can give you? Absolutely not. But that is an example when you say, how can you legislate morality? That is one example the county's already doing that. You can't be within so many feet of those two areas to have a beer store or a bar.
Okay, any other discussion? All right, we want to vote or entertain a motion to table?
Mr. Chairman, if you will, I didn't make a motion to adopt this resolution for a reason, so there's not a motion to vote. Now that we've beat this proverbial horse to death for an hour and a half, almost, I would like to see if we can leave this into old business without having that, since it's not been made a motion to approve it. And I challenge everyone here, the people watching on Facebook, talk to your neighbors, and use the next 4 weeks to talk to your commissioners. And now that the accurate, truthful information is out there, and the fact that we're not trying to, again, mandate how tall your grass can be in your yard, but we're trying to keep some of these nuisances from appearing in the county. I asked the mayor to post all of our current, we have a thread where all of us communicate on, or if there's a notice that needs to be sent out. We all have access to numbers, post our numbers on Facebook, so everybody here can get your commissioners. And please reach out to us and tell us, because just like there's people that sit in here that I am sure that have gotten multiple calls regarding that they do not want this. I attest to you right now. Travis put my name on Facebook. Call me. Thank you, by the way.
Yeah, you shouldn't brought it up.
I own it. I have no problem with that. I promise you, sitting right here, every single person that has called me does not want this stuff coming into this county without some form of guidelines to keep the nuisances down. So reach out to I say we leave this alone. I challenge everybody out there to reach out to your commissioners. There's 3 of us in the first, talk to all 3 of us. Okay, don't just start with one. And then let us come in here with a true poll of what our districts want. And next month we'll vote accordingly, and everybody vote for what your constituents truly take.
I'd like to make a motion that we go ahead and vote on it tonight.
I second that motion.
And Mr. Chairman, what you actually need is a motion to bring it back to the table, ain't it?
Well, it was tabled to this month.
Yeah, I know, you already had a motion.
Already had a motion.
Yeah, so it needs to be.
We're fixing to vote on it.
Yeah, but you need a motion to bring it back to the table and then vote on it.
I make a motion, we bring it back to the table, we vote on it.
Second.
Was that the last month's resolution?
Yep.
Yes.
We tabled it last year.
It was tabled because we had a workshop. Because we wanted to have a workshop.
So we got a motion and a second again.
Bring it back to the table.
Bring it off the table.
Bring it off the table. You have to do it.
All right. Does everybody understand what we're voting on? You vote yes if you want to bring it off the table to vote on it. You vote no if you don't. So leave it on the old business. Wait a minute. You give her just a second. She got to change CDs out. Does it take 14 votes to get it off the table? Okay, she's ready now. Vote. Hang on a second. You vote yes for this motion, take it off the table to vote. Now, we got a motion and a second to do this. So you're going to vote to take it off the table. Okay? It takes 14 votes to take it off the table. I thought you just told me that. Okay. Clerk call the roll.
Zachary Bunch,
Yes.
Dennis Cook,
Yes.
Rick Schuler,
Nope.
Haley Barker,
Yes.
Nathan Epperson,
Yes.
Gary Ford,
Yes.
Mike Campbell,
Yes.
Stacy Crawford,
Yes.
Tim Shrout,
Yes.
Zach Mullins,
Yes.
Anthony Rose,
Yes.
Mitchell Crosby,
Yes.
Rosemary Barnett,
Yes.
Carolyn Brooks,
Yes.
Steve Mason,
Yes.
Steve Brogan,
Yes.
Eric Jones,
Yes.
Sharon Cruz,
Yes.
David Dunn,
Yes.
Quentin Rogers, Dustin Wilson.
Yes.
Motion to take it off the table passes 24-1 against. Now, we're going to vote on it. Yes if you're for it, no if you're against it. Clerk call the roll.
Zachary Bunch,
No.
Dennis Cook,
No.
Rick Schuler,
No.
Haley Barker,
No.
Nathan Epperson,
No.
Gary Ford,
No.
Mike Campbell,
No.
Stacy Crawford,
No.
Tim Shrout,
No.
Zach Mullins,
No.
Anthony Rowe,
No.
Mitchell Crosby,
No.
Rosemary Barnett, Carolyn Brooks,
No.
Steve Mason, Steve Brogan,
No.
Eric Jones, Sharon Cruz,
No.
David Mundy,
No.
Quentin Rogers,
No.
Dustin Wilson.
No.
Resolution 67 failed, 21 against. All right, moving on to new business. First item is the trustee's office fund annual report for information only. Anybody got any questions regarding that? And the next item up is 1A, the announcements for mayor.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to announce that I should have put a resolution in there declaring July the 2nd as National Day of Prayer in Clark County. We had on the courthouse and Main Street down here our first celebration of the National Day of Prayer on July the 2nd. It was a large success. There's been a lot of conversation about that. We want to continue that celebration every July the 2nd. So you will, next month, have a resolution that would declare July the 2nd as Clark County's National Day of Prayer. That way we can continue to plan an annual event around that and we can grow that movement here in Clark County. Second, I have an announcement. I would like to introduce to you all the new Director of Economic Community Development for Clark County, Ms. Stephanie Isbell. She's located in the back hallway of the courthouse, right across from the Veteran Service Officer, right down from your court bailiffs. She will be writing grants for the county and working on those things. She's already hit the ground running. We're working on a couple of grants right now that are zero match for the county that's going to have some good impact. If you all have any needs in that area or want to talk about any grant funding, I'm directing you to Ms. Stephanie Isbell to meet those needs. Thank you.
Okay. Next item up is Resolution 68, but it's not to vote on because of the 67 failed.
Correct.
So I'm going to ask, does any commissioner need to go take a break? All right. Let's take a 5-minute recess, and we'll be back.
So we're going to take a recess, folks, but I'm going to leave the camera on.
Thanks for trying on that. You had it worked out. And then they slipped another gig in there. Larry Cater did. Took the bands on. I don't know what you think. I appreciate you so much. You had it worked out on that Friday. You was going to be able to do it. And then Larry said, well, we got this and that. My brother got really upset with him. I appreciate you. Maybe next year. We'll be better organized. I hate we didn't get to work it out, but man, I was ready. All of us was really ready except Larry. He's the only one. Sounds good. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Anybody know about Mr. Wilson?
We said earlier, they can take all cover and fix that part.
Register of Deeds budget amendment. Mr. Mason.
The budget for these needs a scanner to scan flats and stuff. They really need one bad. So they're going to transfer the money out of their maintenance that they've got. Pass this, I'll make a motion.
Second. All right, we got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Not clerk call the roll.
Zachary Blunt.
Yes.
Dennis Cook.
Yes.
Rich Schufer.
Yes.
Haley Barker.
Yes.
David Anderson.
Yes.
Gary Ford.
Yes.
Mike Campbell.
Yes.
Stacy Crawford.
Yes.
Jim Stroud.
Yes.
Zach Morris.
Yes.
Anthony Rowe.
Yes.
Richard Foster.
Yes.
Rosemary Barnett.
Yes.
Carolyn Brooks.
Yes.
Steve Mason.
Yes.
Steve Bergen.
Yes.
Derek Jones.
Yes.
Sharon Freeman.
Yes.
David Mooney.
Yes.
Quentin Rodgers.
Yes.
Dustin Wells.
Yes. Motion passes 21-4, 0 against. Next item up is resolution 71. Increase Cleveland County mineral severance tax. Mr. Crawford.
Mr. Chairman, this here resolution is a follow-up on what the state legislation passed last month about upping the actual rate up 5 cents per ton. And it's a levy on sand, gravel, and sandstone. If everybody knows what that is, a mineral tax. It's anything that's taken out of Cleveland County, it's a tax put on it. And what they've done through legislation for every county is they've upped it. And I can read you, for the tax period beginning July 1st of 2025, it was 15 cents per ton. And after July 1st, from 25 to 30, it will go to 20 cents. And that, for that tax period, from 2030 to 35, it will go to 25. And it says the reason why they did this is simply because of the inflation rate of everything that's going on. That's to give the highways more money. What we budget right now on the highway is about $40,000 for mineral. Am I not correct, Eric? Is it something around 40,000?
Yes.
Okay, and if we adopt this tonight, it'll add about an estimated $5,000 a year to that budget line. And the budget, and if we adopt this resolution tonight by this vote, this will give the county highway another 5 cents off the mineral tax. I make a motion we adopt this resolution.
Second. All right, we've got a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Mr. Easdale, you're probably going to ask the question, and I'm fixing to ask the problem. You know, we had one company a few years ago that was out here, but their home office was in Knoxville, and we didn't collect no tax off of it because our home office is in Knoxville. Is that still in effect like it used to be?
It is. Yeah. Still goes down there, according to this.
So it still goes down there, and we don't collect nothing off of it.
That's correct.
The new coal company that's coming on board, are they housed here in Cleveland County?
You will get revenue off of that.
Get that. That's called severance tax.
It's a difference.
And this takes 2/3 vote.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question, I know it's off the subject, but what is a coal severance tax? You remember what we raised it to, we raised it a few years ago?
I don't have there, you got it.
It's 30 cents.
No, it's more than that. I was thinking our trucks, a certain period of years, it went to like $1.
I can't remember, I'd have to look at that exact resolution. I'm sorry.
What we're voting on here is it 20 cents?
Raise it from 15 to 20.
Yeah. The state's done already raised it, we just got to prove it to put it in our highway fund. That's where they designated this money go.
The state has proved that.
Yeah, state legislation, right there, the copy of it. They sent up.
Any other discussion? And this takes 2/3 majority,
Yes.
14 votes. Vote, call roll.
Zachary Blunt.
Yes.
Dennis Cook.
Yes.
Rich Schufer.
Yes.
Haley Barker.
Yes.
Nathan Anderson.
Yes.
Gary Ford.
Yes.
Mike Campbell.
Yes.
Stacy Crawford.
Yes.
Jim Stroud.
Yes.
Zach Morris.
Yes.
Anthony Rowe.
Yes.
Richard Foster.
Yes.
Rosemary Barnett.
Yes.
Carolyn Brooks.
Yes.
Steve Mason.
Yes.
Steve Bergen.
Yes.
Derek Jones.
Yes.
Sharon Prairie,
Yes.
David Mundy,
Yes.
Quentin Rogers,
Yes.
Dustin Wilson,
Yes.
Motion carries 21-4, 0 against. We got resolution number 72, the FJC contribution budget meeting. Mr. Clerk.
The Family Justice Center has received a contribution of $250, and I make a motion that we pass this resolution so they can move it into a fund to spend, a line item.
Second for that.
Now, we've got a motion second. Any discussion? And if not, clerk call the roll.
Zachary Dunn,
Yes.
Dennis Cook,
Yes.
Chris Schufer,
Yes.
Haley Walker,
Yes.
Nathan Anderson,
Yes.
Gary Ford,
Yes.
Mike Campbell,
Yes.
Stacy Crawford,
Yes.
Ken Stroud,
Yes.
Pat Owen,
Yes.
Anthony Rowe,
Yes.
Richard Cosby,
Yes.
Rosemary Barnett,
Yes.
Carolyn Brooks,
Yes.
Steve Mason,
Yes.
Steve Rogan,
Yes.
Eric Jones,
Yes.
Sharon Prairie,
Yes.
David Mundy,
Yes.
Quentin Rogers,
Yes.
Dustin Wilson.
Yes.
Motion carried 21-4, 0 against. Next item is resolution 73. It is the Family Justice Center budget amendment. Mr. Curry.
Yes, the Family Justice Center has contributions that they received in 2025 that have not been spent, and I make a motion that we move that into 2026 so that they can spend it now.
I second it.
We've got a motion second. Any discussion? If not, clerk call the roll.
Zachary Dunn,
Yes.
Dennis Cook,
Yes.
Chris Schufer,
Yes.
Haley Walker,
Yes.
David Anderson,
Yes.
Gary Ford,
Yes.
Mike Campbell,
Yes.
Stacy Crawford,
Yes.
Ken Stroud,
Yes.
Zach Long,
Yes.
Anthony Rowe,
Yes.
Richard Cosby,
Yes.
Rosemary Barnett, Carolyn Brooks,
Yes.
Steve Mason,
Yes.
Steve Rogan,
Yes.
Eric Jones,
Yes.
Sharon Prairie,
Yes.
David Mundy,
Yes.
Quentin Rogers, Dustin Wilson.
Yes.
Motion carried 21-4, 0 against. Next item up is resolution 74, cooperative purchasing agreement with TIPS. Mr. Crosby.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. What this is it's a cooperative purchasing agreement with TIPS, which is the interlocal purchasing system. It's a national cooperative purchasing program that the school system uses, and if we pass this tonight, the county can use it also for the county to buy like anything, cars, and not bid out the process. I'll make a motion to adopt this resolution.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, we got a motion second. Any discussion? If not, clerk call the roll.
Zachary Dunn,
Yes.
Dennis Cook,
Yes.
Chris Schufer,
Yes.
Haley Walker,
Yes.
Nathan Anderson,
Yes.
Gary Ford,
Yes.
Mike Campbell,
Yes.
Stacy Crawford,
Yes.
Ken Stroud,
Yes.
Zach Long,
Yes.
Anthony Rowe,
Yes.
Richard Cosby,
Yes.
Rosemary Barnett, Carolyn Brooks,
Yes.
Steve Mason,
Yes.
Steve Rogan,
Yes.
Eric Jones,
Yes.
Sharon Prairie,
Yes.
David Mundy,
Yes.
Quentin Rogers,
Yes.
Dustin Wilson.
Yes.
Motion carries 21-4, 0 against. Next resolution is 75, fiscal year 2026, various grants, budget amendment. Mr. Collins.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is various grants from 25 that we're moving over into 26 that we didn't get to do, but we're going to hopefully get them done this year. So I make a motion to adopt this resolution.
We've got a motion second. Any discussion?
I'd like to ask a question, Mr. Mayor. On this Homeland Security grant, we have to have somebody that's trained and stuff to oversee how that grant applies to everything.
So what that is through Homeland Security to make sure that all governmental entities are secure and can't be breached. This has nothing to do with an individual locally that sees that. This was written, the grant narrative was written, a IT company from Knoxville, LBMC was selected. They're going to come in and try to penetrate Cleveland County's security protocols and find out where weaknesses are. There are 4 steps of that process included in this price. Once we're done with that, we're going to find out where we are with regards to firewall, email, phones, anything that connects to the internet. We'll know where we're not secure or need to be
Any other questions or discussion? Not, clerk call the roll.
Zachary Bunch.
Yes.
James Cook.
Yes.
Chris Schuster.
Yes.
Eddie Barker.
Yes.
Nathan Anderson.
Yes.
Gary Ford.
Yes.
Mike Campbell.
Yes.
Stacy Crawford.
Yes.
Kenny Trask.
Yes.
Zach Mullins.
Yes.
Anthony Rose.
Yes.
Stephen Crosby.
Yes.
Rosemary Martin.
Yes.
Carolyn Brooks.
Yes.
Steve Mason.
Yes.
Steve Burton.
Yes.
Derek Jones.
Yes.
Sharon Prairie.
Yes.
Larry Bud.
Yes.
Quentin Rogers.
Yes.
Jason Wilson.
Yes.
Motion carried, 21-4, 0 against. Next item up is Resolution 76, fiscal year 2026 appropriations correction. Budget amendment, Mr. Collins.
Thanks again, Mr. Chairman. This is basically the same thing that appropriations corrections is for 7 different grants from last year that's going into this year now. It's CDBG, food grant, health renovation grant, and Fund 127 ARPA adjustments, and Fund 127 LATCF grant. I make a motion to adopt this resolution.
Second.
All right, we got a motion and a second, any discussion?
On the food grant, is one of those supposed to be positive?
Yeah, I guess on the revenue part too.
Revenue, yeah.
Make that little negative on.
Okay, any other discussion? Clerk call the roll.
Zachary Bunch.
Yes.
James Cook.
Yes.
Chris Schuster.
Yes.
Eddie Barker.
Yes.
Nathan Anderson.
Yes.
Gary Ford.
Yes.
Mike Campbell.
Yes.
Stacy Crawford.
Yes.
Kenny Trask.
Yes.
Zach Mullins.
Yes.
Anthony Rose.
Yes.
Stephen Crosby.
Yes.
Rosemary Martin.
Yes.
Carolyn Brooks.
Yes.
Steve Mason.
Yes.
Steve Burton.
Yes.
Derek Jones.
Yes.
Sharon Prairie.
Yes.
Larry Bud.
Yes.
Quentin Rogers.
Yes.
Justin Wilson.
Yes.
Motion carried, 21-4, 0 against. Next item is Resolution 77, fiscal year 2026 various adjustments, budget amendment, Mr. Collins.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As you said, it's various adjustments and it's communications and some furniture for the circuit, I guess, Chancery Court, courtroom. I guess we failed to put this back in the budget when we, as a budget committee, so we're just putting it back into the appropriate ones from like 25, so we're putting them in 26. So I make a motion to adopt this resolution.
Second. All right, we got a motion second. Any discussion? If not, clerk call the roll.
Zachary Bunch.
Yes.
James Cook.
Yes.
Chris Schuster.
Yes.
Eddie Barker.
Yes.
Nathan Anderson.
Yes.
Gary Ford.
Yes.
Mike Campbell.
Yes.
Stacy Crawford.
Yes.
Kenny Trask.
Yes.
Zach Mullins.
Yes.
Anthony Rose.
Yes.
Stephen Crosby.
Yes.
Rosemary Martin.
Yes.
Carolyn Brooks.
Yes.
Steve Mason.
Yes.
Steve Rogan.
Yes.
Derek Jones.
Yes.
Sharon Prairie.
Yes.
Larry Bud.
Yes.
Quentin Rogers.
Yes.
Justin Wilson.
Yes.
Motion carried, 21-4, 0 against. Next item is Resolution 78, confirming the sale of county property. Mr. Mundy.
Combine both these, Mr. Executive, I'll do it one time. I'll make a motion we do it, we combine 78, 79, and I'll make a motion we pass.
I second.
All right, we've got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Clerk call the roll.
Zachary Bunch.
Yes.
James Cook.
Yes.
Chris Schuster.
Yes.
Eddie Barker.
Yes.
Nathan Anderson.
Yes.
Gary Ford.
Yes.
Mike Campbell.
Yes.
Stacy Crawford.
Yeah.
Kenny Trask.
Yes.
Zach Mullins.
Yes.
Anthony Rose.
Yes.
Stephen Crosby.
Yes.
Rosemary Martin.
Yes.
Carolyn Brooks.
Yes.
Steve Mason.
Yes.
Steve Rogan.
Yes.
Derek Jones.
Yes.
Sharon Prairie.
Yes.
Larry Bud.
Yes.
Quentin Rogers.
Yes.
Justin Wilson.
Yes.
Motion. The resolution 78 and 79 passes 21-4, 0 against. Next item up is resolution number 80, authorizing opioid settlement. Mr. Mundy.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to pass this, it's opioid settlement, Mr. East will talk back, explain if you want to.
questions.
We got, did you get the motion second?
I'll second.
Go ahead, any discussion?
It's just proving what we've done before as far as the opioid settlement. I know Sam knows I was talking about adding it on tonight, but I tell you no. When I looked, it was already included, but I got a separate email for it, and it specifically said we would be receiving $181,000, and that settlement is $3.9 billion. The Purdue settlement is $15 billion, so do the math. We're going to get a substantial amount, but it's limited to use for opioid remediation and treatment. So the attorneys, according to the documents I attached, recommend you approving this. This gives Mr. Brooks and myself the authority to let them know that you've approved it. Thank you.
Any questions? If not, clerk call the roll.
Henry Lund.
Yes.
Dennis Cook.
Yes.
Chris Schuster.
Yes.
Kevin Barker. Yes. David Anderson.
Yes.
Terry Ford.
Yes.
Mike Campbell.
Yes.
Stacy Crawford.
Yes.
Steve Shrout.
Yes.
Zach Long.
Yes.
Anthony Rose.
Yes.
Peter Coffey.
Yes.
Rosemary Burnett. Yes. Carolyn Brooks.
Yes.
Steve Madson.
Yes.
Steve Ray.
Yes.
Eric Jones.
Yes.
Gary Perry. Yes. Dave Mooney.
Yes.
Kenny Rogers.
Yes.
Justin Wilson.
Yes.
Motion carries, 21 for, 0 against. Next item up is Resolution 81, increased purchasing bid threshold. Mr. Schuster.
Yes, I was asked to sponsor this resolution at the last minute just so we could get it in the packet, so I'll pass the mic over to the mayor to speak on this.
Thank you, Mr. Schuster. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I know we've kind of beat this horse to death talking about this bid threshold, but I want to talk to you about what's happening around the county now. So a couple of weeks ago, we had an air conditioning unit crap out in the clerk's office, and she was without air for about 3.5 days. On day one, as soon as we knew that, I reached out to about 4 HVAC folks. One of them said he wasn't coming to look at it. One of them said, why do you want me to do it? You're not going to use my bid anyway, except for the number that you have to have by the state to do that. The other 2 that did it were the large volume people. We went with the lowest, which was in a couple $100 to each other. All this took place over the course of 3 days, and the clerk's office roasted for 3 days because we couldn't get the air to them. So I'm asking you to help us out, to help these instances out when we have these problems, to increase the bid threshold from $15,000 to $25,000. And if you do so, we won't have to get 3 bids or 3 quotes now for anything less than $15,000, which is what's causing us an amount of problem. So I think people around the county have watched this action unfold, and they realize that they don't have the commercial buying power of, say, somebody that can go buy a truckload of units. So they're no longer going to waste their time throughout their day to come in and give a quote on something that they know they're never going to get because they can go out and earn money to do that. So I'm just identifying the problem. If you guys don't want to do it, we'll continue to do it. Just know that these air conditioning units all around the courthouse in the county are 20, some of them are almost 30 years old. When they go out, we're without anything in these offices until we can try to find at least 3 quotes. Now,
And how much did that cost to get that bid?
$8,700. I got a new outdoor and air handler, a new compressor outside, and a new air handler inside.
So you're already at 15,000.
I'm sorry, what?
So it wasn't over.
That's correct.
Okay.
But because it was under 15,000,
15,000,
I have to get 3 quotes. If you raise the bid threshold to 25,000,
But it wasn't under it, so you.
I recognize if you guys want to vote for it to increase it to save us from having to get quotes for items that are less than $15,000, then you're for it. If you're against it and you want us to continue to do business the way we're doing it of trying to get other people to come in here for 3 or 4 days to do this, then that's the way we'll do it. I'm just pointing out a problem that we're having in the county with getting some of these repairs done.
The paper we have says all rules and regulations of the state controller's office are adhered to. All items from 5,000 to 15,000 should be accompanied by 3 informal cost estimates.
That's correct.
So
That's correct.
that's the current policy.
That's the current policy. What I'm asking you to do is increase the bid threshold to 25,000, which removes that policy. That's what I'm saying to you guys.
It raises the cost estimates to 10,000 in the resolution.
That's correct.
There's nothing that falls under an emergency situation like, can we just go ahead and do it because it's all right, it's gotta be done.
It's got to be urgent for it to help safety.
Well, I agree with all.
Yeah, that's what people get uncomfortable. If something falls in and the roof collapses, that's a health or safety issue. I'm just saying what we know. You guys can either vote to raise it or not raise it. I can let the clerk speak to her employees about how they felt about that, what was said by folks in the office, or not. But it's entirely up to you whether or not you want to do it. If you don't do it, I'm never going to bring it up again, I promise you. It's the last time.
That wouldn't actually change the outcome of that one because they'd still be 3 days out. But you didn't have to come. You still have to get 3 in.
I had Taylor Heating and Air here that afternoon, and they could have been here the very next morning and fixed it.
But you still have to get 3 informal bids, correct?
No, that's correct.
Okay.
So if you come up and it's $8,700, come and do
So
the work.
if it's 10,001, you've been saying situation.
That's correct.
You know, I got a question. You may not be aware of this, but I remember, you said you had to get a bid for air conditioning work.
I said bid, I meant quote, sorry.
Okay, what?
Bids are sealed.
For down at the station. Okay, I got a quick question. Something that's bothers me, and I should ask somebody, but I'm going to ask now. I can remember back in get the year when we were building that jail back there. We hired a gentleman, and his expertise that's what his expertise was. And I can go back and look, but I'm about 100% sure when we did that, and we put him over that it was included in that resolution for him to be over all the county buildings. Now, am I right or am I wrong?
I don't think that's
I believe that's wrong. I believe that, I believe we done it. Dave's here.
He's here. You can ask Murphy. Murphy?
Yeah.
Are you over all of them or just the Justice Center?
No, I was part of the Justice Center, but I have been asked along the years to check this unit out or check that unit out. Family Justice Center in the process of when we were redoing it. I've been asked and have checked a few equipment here and there, but as far as this one, I didn't know anything was wrong with it until just now. So, but yeah, I could have looked at it, but if it was dead, it's dead.
It's dead.
And the new Freon that we have now is flammable. I don't know if anybody here has understood that. I'm not certified for that, so I couldn't replace it if I had to.
How busy are you during just a routine week out of the jail? Doing this?
Hey, you ask me. Sometimes I'm covered up, sometimes I'm looking for something.
Well, listen, I apologize for you. I shouldn't put you on the spot. I really, seriously.
But I'm there every day I can. You won't find me.
I'm sorry.
I got company phone, everybody got my number.
Believe it or not, I know better. I shouldn't ask you. I am sorry. I promise you. But here's my deal. Why are we?
If you was out for 3 days, would you want it fixed? Why make it a problem? These women was out for 3 days, it was over 90 degrees.
Well,
You was out for 3 days.
It's not what I'm addressing.
But if this can fix that, then why
not what I'm addressing. I'm addressing, why are we even putting it up for bid or anything when we've got a gentleman that works for the county that's out of jail that could have done right straight over it.
Because he said he's certified to do it.
Well, why in the world did we hire him to be over and put it in the good?
He said change it now, it's flammable now.
I mean, he had told his certification, he can't do it no more.
It's
Let
changed.
me add one more thing. This same unit, I noticed.
It's got to be one at a time, please.
This same unit roughly 5 years ago, was thought to have a bad compressor. I was called to look at it then, and we spent almost 2 hours washing the dirt out of the coil, and it has run for 5 years. So I saved its life, so to speak, 5 years ago. I'm not a miracle worker. And it's 30-some years old.
I'm not saying that I think
The thing is, I agree that those women were probably miserable, and to me that is a health concern, but this opens it up for any kind of issue, not just that one situation.
So what I'm saying, any issue that we may have in the county, if somebody comes out, we ask first for an estimate. How much is it gonna cost? If it's $5,000 or more, right now, we have to say, okay, I've got to get 2 more quotes, right? If it's, and you approve this, and it's under $10,000, I can get the problem fixed. If it's over $10,000, I've got to get 3 quotes. You're still going to do that. And any issue could be more than what the bid threshold is. But you don't know what that is until you have somebody come look at it. And after they come look at it, you got to tell them, hey, thanks for coming. I'm going to have to call 2 more people and get a quote. And some of them will do it, but the majority of them now know that the gig is up. You're calling me because you got to have an extra quote, but you're not calling me back to do the job because I don't have the volume and buying power that somebody else does to do it cheaper. I'm just informing you all of what's happening in the county with regards to our bid threshold.
Well, I believe that, but to me, that would be the same. Say we have a sanitation truck that's coming from Harrington on the Saturday. It breaks down, it's on the side of the road out here somewhere. We're not gonna leave that there till Monday.
Well, I agree, they're going to throw it right down the lane.
Well, that's what I'm saying. And to me, air conditioning unit going out here, I mean, to me, that'd be the same thing.
We can agree to disagree.
I think we'll go down there and work.
I think those are apples and oranges in comparison to that because somebody's not sitting in the truck over the weekend next Monday until it gets repaired and has air conditioning coming, or it can roll down the road with the windows open and keep it from being a hot box. That's just me.
Mr. Shute, you want to make that into a motion?
Sure. I'll make a motion, we approve this resolution.
Okay, we need a second.
Second.
We've got a motion and a second. Now, is any other discussion?
So we're voting to increase it from 5,000 to
What the motion says?
15 to 25.
No, we've already said at 15,000, we're gonna raise it to 25,000. What this is for.
And the bidding process, the quote process from 5,000 to 10,000.
That's what I could say.
It's 2 quotes.
Yeah.
Everybody understand? Yes. Clerk, call the roll.
Zachary Bunch,
No.
Dennis Cook,
No.
Chris Schufer,
Yes.
Haley Barker. No. Nathan Everson,
Yes.
Gary Moore,
No.
Mike Campbell,
Yes.
Stacy Crawford,
No.
Tim Shroud,
Yes.
Zach Mullins,
Yes.
Anthony Rowe,
Yes.
Richard Crosby,
Yes.
Rosemary Barnett. No. Carolyn Brooks,
No.
Steve Mason,
No.
Steve Brogan,
No.
Eric Jones,
Yes.
Sharon Perry. No. David Honey,
change your vote before I announce it. Motion failed, 9-4, 12 against. Okay, next item up is Resolution 82, support the Morristown Marine Annual Fishing Tournament. We've got a sponsor, Ms. Barker, Mr. Epperson, and Mr. Cole.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, this is a resolution budget amendment to support the Morristown Marine Annual Fishing Tournament by the collection of the revenue we gathered from tourism. And I'll let the mayor speak on this, and he can tell you more about it.
Sure. As you all remember, we did an ARC grant to expand the Brogan's free rent down there with the idea of having more fishing tournaments in Claiborne County and bringing in more revenue into Claiborne County for sales and hotel motel tax. I had called Karen Clark at the Chamber of Commerce and asked her if we could use $10,000 of hotel motel tax. And rightly so, she said that's something I need to take to my tourism board to see if that's okay. I can't make that verbal commitment. They've not met yet, but Morristown Marina is in the stages of planning this tournament, which is going to bring in anywhere from 200 to 300 boats on a North Lake. You may or may not know it, but North Lake is a built-in signature lake. ECD is sponsoring dollars to help those lakes out across the state. If we support and help a fishing tournament on North Lake, on that ramp, we can expect to receive more funding to expand that ramp and that area of North Lake out to bring in more tourism dollars, more sales tax dollars into Claiborne County, which is the reason that we did the expansion at Brogan's boat ramp to begin with. Now, speaking of Morristown Marine, they did a fishing tournament in one of our neighboring counties that brought in an estimated $352,000 in revenue. Now, I can say estimated because everybody that goes to these tournaments have a post-tournament survey that they fill out. And there were 57 individuals that stayed and rented or hoteled or camped in this particular county for greater than 4 nights. That's hotel motel tax dollars. Every single person that was in it, except for about 20% out of about 350 people in this tournament, stayed at least 1 night overnight. Now, they estimate that the economic impact of Claiborne County for a $10,000 investment would be a minimum of $150,000 of revenue to the county, but they won't know that until the actual post-tournament surveys are taken. Now, we're sitting here looking for revenue. Anybody will tell you that it takes money to make money. Anybody that's in business, if you ain't got money, you're not going to make money. This is an ask to say that we want to invest in our largest tourism attraction in Claiborne County to bring a fishing tournament in that will have people come to Claiborne County and will set the stage with great narratives for the future to show a department and a commitment of Claiborne County to invest in this area for sales tax and hotel motel tax revenue so that we can get more grants in that space. Now, I'm asking that you all can approve it so that we can see the good works that we are able to do down here and the revenue that we could bring in from having a large fishing tournament of this size come to Claiborne County.
Any other discussion?
I'd just like to say that, just like you mentioned in the workshop about something else, you used the word precedence. And to me, that would set a precedence that we could come in and tell them what to do with their money just by voting on it. I don't feel like we have the right to vote on what they do with the money that comes in from tourism, and they are planning to meet this week.
Oh, no, hang on, you're misunderstanding. Your resolution is not taking tourism dollars from the economic partnership. It says undesignated fund balance. If they vote to use that in their next meeting, we will use undesignated fund balance from tourism dollars. That's correct. It all goes into the general fund on the front end, and then it's divvied out to where it is. They were budgeted about $100,000 last year, and we brought in excess of $100,000, but I'm not going to be so crass to to do a resolution to use hotel motel tax dollars until I reach out to the folks that are over that. So they're operating right now on a fund balance in excess of what we budgeted.
Is there any other counties given to them, or?
The other counties give to them, as do other fishing tournaments when those tournaments happen in those counties. So Morristown Marine, if they want to do a tournament in Claiborne County, like the big Bassmaster Classic in Knox County, no counties around Knox County gave to that. That was a Knox County event. Just like this would be a Claiborne County event.
So this a one-day tournament?
It's a one-day tournament. How these tournaments typically work is they'll come in and fish the lake and find the hot spots where they need to be at, where the fish are biting, and then the tournament is on Saturday.
Well, when we take out other dates, it's $9.25, and they're not going to give us a hotel motel tax back.
So Karen could vote to give it back to you all to do that. But for right now, this is just saying you're willing to give it out of undesignated fund balance.
I still say that's setting a precedence, and they are meeting this week to discuss that very issue. They're all about having the tournaments,
So I'm going to speak up and say that although my name is on this, it got added before Joe called me or got a hold of me. He did try, but neither here nor there. I think that, in my opinion, if it goes to vote tonight, I would say no, simply because right now it's not tourism dollars. It's one-on-one.
That's correct.
I am not okay with that. Now, if tourism chooses to use those tourism dollars toward this, great. I think it is what we expanded the rent for. But as far as coming from 101, I don't support that. I told you that on the phone.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying, all of your fund balances, or all your funds, go into the 101 fund, undesignated fund balance, until you all set a budget. And then everything comes out of the 101 fund, even when you're talking about funding the 116, the 131, even the school system for property tax dollars, all comes out of the 101 funds. Now, do I know that they're going to pass that? I absolutely don't. You want to table it till next month? That's okay. Do that, and then we'll find out what they say. I'm really bringing it up because we got a conversation with them, and they're looking for the county partnership on our first ever large fishing tournament.
When is the tournament?
It will be the spring of 2026. So these things are planned out months in advance, and you'll have people that are coming from as far as Texas to fish this tournament.
I make a motion just to table it and let the chamber meet.
I'll second.
I'll second that.
I've got a motion to table until they meet, to make a decision. Everybody understand that this vote is just a table motion? Clerk, call the roll. Yes.
Yes.
Rich Shooter,
Yes.
Haley Walker,
Yes.
Nathan Anderson,
Yes.
Gary Ford,
Yes.
Mike Campbell,
Yes.
Jason Crawford,
Yes.
Keith Strought,
Yes.
Zach Mullins,
Yes.
Anthony Rowe,
Yes.
David Foster,
Yes.
Rosemary Barnett, Carolyn Brooks,
Yes.
Steve Mason,
Yes.
Keith Brown,
Yes.
Derek Jones,
Yes.
Sherry McCary, Sherry. Yes. David Manning,
Yes.
Quentin Rogers,
Yes.
Dustin Wilson.
Yes. All right, motion to table passes 21-4, again. Next item up is Resolution 83, Office Equipment Resolution. Mr. Stroud.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Appreciate everyone for hanging in there and saving this for last. So the circuit clerk's office is in dire need of updating the software program and the hardware computer systems in their offices. Looking at moving the monies around for the funding for that, the amount of $25,079.90. so that we can help Ms. Rosamond get her equipment back up to par and the software updated and the hardware updated. And I make a motion to pass this.
Second.
Now, we got a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Did you say just to move the money around, not to add any money or get it?
Yes, it's
Get it
moving
from
the
their
money
budget?
within the first.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? If not, clerk call the roll.
Dr. Dunn?
Yes.
Susan Cook?
Yes.
Chris Schufer?
Yes.
Amy Martin?
Yes.
Kevin Everton?
Yes.
Gary Ford?
Yes.
Mike Campbell?
Yes.
Stacy Crawford?
Yes.
Steve Tribe?
Yes.
Ted Collins?
Yes.
Anthony Rose?
Yes.
Peter Costa?
Yes.
Rosemary Barnett?
Yes.
Carolyn Brooks?
Yes.
Steve Mason? Steve Brody?
Yes.
Garrett Jones?
Yes.
Sherry Peters?
Yes.
Taylor Hanley?
Yes.
Quentin Rogers?
Yes.
Dustin Hook?
Yes.
Motion carried, 41 for, 0 against. Is there any announcements before we adjourn?
I have one. I just want to remind everybody about the Boys and Girls Club and the handout they gave us. We're really blessed to have a Boys and Girls Club here in the area. It didn't turn out the way we had anticipated, and to be honest, to me, it's working even better because it's getting more side of the county. They have that open house where you can go in and see July 23rd. I really ask that you take a few minutes that day and go by and visit with them and see what all those kids are doing. It really is a great opportunity for kids in our area.
Okay, any other?
Mr. Chairman, I'll say this. I'm glad for the turnout we've seen tonight in the audience. It's always, it's kind of downhearted to come in here and it just be a group of us and not have no community input. So we have something to bring the community out. It's good to see from everybody. I appreciate everybody who's come out and sat through this.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Thanks for joining us on a unusually long Claiborne County Commissioners meeting. We're still working out some of the kinks on our new equipment, but try and do better next time. Talk to you on Tradio in the morning. I'm Brian on 106.3, The Big One.